Welcome to the Sovereign Library. Horizon Life Operating Systems. Deep Dive Series. Integration. This is not a teaching about healing. Healing implies something was broken. Something needed to be fixed. Something was wrong with you that has now been corrected. Integration is different. Integration is the process by which everything you've lived, the relapses, the hard seasons, the years you'd rather forget, the version of yourself you're not proud of, stops being something you're running from, and becomes part of who you are, not celebrated, not minimized, not explained away, integrated. The walls between who you have been and who you are becoming dissolve. What was hidden is no longer a threat. It is simply part of you. Carl Jung described integration as the process by which the conscious and unconscious are woven into the personality as a unified whole. In plain language, the parts of yourself you've been avoiding stop being enemies and start being information. In recovery, integration means developing the capacity to witness your own inner world without being overtaken by it, to feel the craving without becoming the craving, to hear the beast without obeying it, to sit with loneliness without using it as a reason to use. This capacity is not something you are born with. It is something you build, one session at a time, one honest check-in at a time, one night you chose differently at a time. There is a version of recovery that looks like white-knuckling with better habits. You do the check-in because you're supposed to. You journal because someone told you it helps. You run the protocol because the beast is loud and you need something to do with your hands. The tools are external. They feel like discipline. They feel like work. This is not wrong. This is the beginning. But integration is what happens next. Integration is the day you notice you've already checked in before you remembered you were supposed to. The day the sovereign voice answers the beast before you consciously intervene. The day you reach for the journal, not because it's part of the protocol, but because you actually want to know what you're feeling. The tools stop feeling like tools. They start feeling like you. That shift, from using the framework to being it, is integration. Integration doesn't announce itself. It accumulates quietly, in moments you almost miss. It looks like this. You're at work. The shift is hard. Someone says something that would have wrecked you 6 months ago, and instead of spiraling, you notice yourself noticing. You catch the beast's voice before it gets loud. You don't perform sovereignty. You just move from it, naturally, without effort. That's integration. You wake up from a vivid dream, and before you've fully surfaced, you're already curious about what it might mean. Not because you have to be, because you genuinely want to know what your inner world is doing. That's integration. You're in a situation where the old version of you would have used. The craving is there. You feel it fully. You don't suppress it. You don't pretend it isn't happening. And then it passes. Not because you white-knuckled it, because you've practiced being with it enough times that it no longer has the authority it once had. That's integration. Jung taught that the shadow, the parts of ourselves we've hidden, denied, or rejected, doesn't disappear when we ignore it. It goes underground. It operates from beneath the surface, shaping behavior in ways we can't see, because we refuse to look at them directly. The beast is the shadow's loudest voice. Every time you use the check-in to honestly name what's happening, not the edited version, the real version, you are doing shadow work. Every time you let something true be reflected back to you and you don't flinch away from it, you are integrating a piece of what was underground. Integration is not about becoming someone who has no shadow. It's about becoming someone whose shadow doesn't run the show. The beast doesn't disappear. It quiets. It loses authority. It becomes one voice among many, and increasingly, not the loudest one. Integration is not a destination. It is a practice. The check-in you do today is not valuable because of what it produces today. It is valuable because it is the 47th time you have chosen to show up honestly instead of checking out. The nervous system has been trained. The sovereign voice has been reinforced. The pathway between the triggering moment and the sovereign response has been carved deeper with each session. This is what integration actually is in the body, not an idea, but a physical change in how your nervous system responds to the world. The practice is the point. Every session is an act of integration, whether it feels significant or not. There will be days where the tools feel external again, where the check-in feels like discipline, where the sovereign voice is quiet and the beast is loud, where you spend the whole day in bed and the last thing you want to do is open the app. This is not regression. This is the wilderness. The integration you've built doesn't disappear in the wilderness. It waits, it holds, it is there when you return. Return to the tools, not because they are the solution, because returning to them is itself an act of integration, proof that the path is still yours even when you can't feel it beneath your feet. The negotiation with who you used to be is over. What you're building now is permanent. Horizon Life Operating Systems Deep Dive Series.